have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host Superman in the house for another great show on crypto. In this case, we're going to be talking about some of the fundamentals of Pulsechain and why it will win. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Should be a lot of fun. Without further ado, though, let's get the socials out. If you haven't already, you can repost on X, and let's get the show sharing. And yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun. So I'm just posting it here in Telegram. Live now, I guess. So we're right live now. Yeah, let's do it. All right, so get in and watch the show. Yeah, good times ahead. We obviously got a bit of a retrace happening at the moment in the markets after a couple of good days in the office, but not too bad. A good time for us to talk about some of the fundamentals for Pulsechain and the broader market. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to usual coverage, of course, of the stock market and economic data. We're also going to talk about the crypto majors and get into the Pulsechain results as well. We're going to look at the Pulsechain chart and then get into the top 100 trending performers on Dex Screener with the default view. So that's kind of where we're heading, and then we're going to check in on a few projects and see where they are at as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy the show there for that. And don't forget to smash the repost on X. The other big thing, of course, is don't forget to also subscribe if you're on YouTube. Smash the subscribe button. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's get going. Let's get into it, and let's build up the show. All right, so we're going to jump over there to X, and you can see actually we've got seems to be streaming pretty well there right now. But let's jump into the Wall Street and see how Wall Street's going. Who we got a comment in the chat there? We got Unprotected Hex in the house. Good morning, Superman. Pulsechain season, PDI to $1. Yeah, I see there's still quite a few PDI diehards out there for the old PDI. The only fundamental I see for PDI at the moment is the community, the size of the community, right? And obviously got Somi and others there leading the way there. I really won't really get convinced until we see a protocol actually support it. We've had a couple of failed attempts, but we're trying to keep an open mind on that. But that's kind of where I see that. I think there's much better projects on Pulsechain, much better tokenomics. So we'll see how that all plays out. It is crypto after all, the Wild West sometimes. We got the Wall Street closes marginally lower amid uncertainty over Iran conflict in. So just a little bit down there. We were actually moving higher overnight, and when I woke up this morning, it had pulled back. But with Dow Jones right now is just down slightly, 34 points to finish Tuesday's results. We're at 47,706. So we have a look at the little chart that we've got. We'll just take maybe the year. We can see that we're just off the highs there in February, right? 50,000. We're down at 47,700. So down about 2,500 points. Is it something like that? Yeah, about 2,500 points. About 2,500 points. We got the S&P 500 down 0.2%, 15 points to 67.81, and that is, you can see over the last year is just shimming across the bottom there. So it hasn't really moved down too much. I guess the highs were around January, around almost 7,000. We're only down 220 points or something like that. Not even that, 200 points maybe. The Nasdaq is flat, up 1 point between 2,697, and you can see over the last year we're really only off the top there as well. We have about 23,800. So we're down about 1,100 points, overall, and a lot of that would account for the Iranian dealing with the Iranian issue, and obviously we don't want terrorists with nuclear weapons, right? We've got the dollar index there at 98.85, just down slightly at the moment, and the VIX there at 25, and we saw it spike recently, didn't we? Let's have a look at that spike. We'll do the monthly chart, and we saw it spike all the way up to around 30. It looks like hopefully that's the that was the bottom in for that, right? So now I know Tom Lee is expecting another spike down later in the year sometime. So I think that would probably be more in the middle of the year, unless it was something related to the midterm, something. We'll try and map that out a little bit, but that is kind of where we are there. Let's go to the commodities. After obviously all the drama in crude oil, we saw that back up here, getting up to around about 120 bucks on West Texas, etc. Brent oil, at least. They're down at $83 and $87 respectively. Brent oil is down about 3.8% overnight. So that's kind of a lot of drama and back down again. We got the gold at the moment at $5,223. You can see it's coming off the high of about $5,400, and we're down 18 bucks at the moment. Silver sitting at $89, which is actually quite a decent little run recently in the last month. We had a high back here about $95 over the last month. That's kind of where we are on that one. So still doing pretty well, gold, silver, but we are expecting, there is a big school of thought expecting gold to really get some degree of rotation into crypto this year. So that's kind of what we're looking for at the moment. Some of the big things there, of course, around Iran, the Strait of Hormuz and oil. Essentially, the US has got control of that, use military. They've also got minesweepers and things like that to try and avoid any mines. A lot of the ships are turning off transponders and oil is flowing. And of course, if needed, they can may get military escort, as well as I think the White House working on the insurance side of things as well. So the market seems to be buying into all that at the moment. And of course, largely they have destroyed a lot of the heavy military aspects of Iran. They're still going to probably spend the next week blowing up even more to make sure they really get them down. And today, apparently, is going to be an even bigger day of bombing. So they really are trying to destroy everything they can, including any nuclear rebuilding programs, things like that. So there we go. We'll see whether the Iranian people decide to step up, or do they need more of the military barracks? Now, that's the one thing I haven't seen a lot on is the military side of things. So obviously, the Navy, Air Force destroyed, Air Force defense is destroyed, a big chunk of the rockets and drones destroyed. But the military, of course, largely probably sleeping outside of barracks. We've seen them be taken out in hotels and things like that. So that's probably the big question if you're going to get a revolution of the people. Remember, over 80% of the people don't want the Ayatollah leadership. They want freedom. And so we're going to see whether that manifests itself over the next few weeks to months, right? So that's something we're looking out for. That would be a truly great moment for the people of Iran, let alone the world, right? So we'll see. We've got Only Crypto in the house there. Hey, Suitman, good to see you, Only Crypto. What are your thoughts when we start seeing some serious moves to the upside? Do you think we'll have a bull run this year? I still expect a bull run this year. We're expecting March to be slightly up. April may be a good month, and then we might have potentially, we've also got a risk out there of a potential 20% pullback again at some stage. But actually, things are looking pretty positive. We're looking at this week. Tom Lee and Tom DeMark there are correct. Then we may end up having the bottom over the next week, and they've got about $1.2 billion worth of cash to buy. And we also see Michael Saylor from Strategy buying up a lot too, right? So that's potentially going to put a bottom in maybe next week, or the end of this weekend, like this weekend. So we'll see. We've still got the Iran issue dynamics, but that does look like they can't do too much, right? They can't. It's a very internal thing now. As long as the Strait of Hormuz is controlled, then Iranians really don't have too much to play there. And as long as their rockets and drones are subsiding, so that's kind of where we are. I really think it's getting pretty close by the end of this week. That it will be a question about what the people rising up and taking back their country against the hardliners, right? So that's something we're going to keep a lookout for. All right. That's kind of where we are on the old the Iran issue and how it's impacted markets and oil prices. We got the Oracle results coming in after the bell, so apparently we're going to look out for the Oracle results. But the other big thing is we have got inflation data coming out, right? So inflation data is expected on Wednesday. So it'll be in tomorrow's market results. And then we've got inflation data on Friday, right? So we've got CPI, and then we've got the other indicator as well coming in for the market. So that's going to be pretty important, those two inflation datas. So yeah, we'll keep a lookout for that. I don't know if I got the calendar up here, economic calendar. Quickly look at that. Those two pieces of inflation data, pretty fundamental for interest rates. And so that's coming in tomorrow. Yeah, we've got CPI coming in. Forecast for a year on year is 2.4%. So anything lower than that's going to be good. And then we've got Friday. Friday's results. Let's see what we got on Friday. We got core PCE data, which is the preferred gauge for inflation. That's 3.1%, and we previously had 3%. So if we get anything better than 3.1% for the core PCE and 2.4% for the CPI, then that's going to bode well for the markets, right? And we'll keep a lookout for that, right? So yeah, that is kind of where we are right now in terms of the Fed rate monitor. Have a quick look at that. Fed rate monitor. We've got a week to go until the next Fed meeting with 17 hours on the 18th of March. I'll put that in your calendar. We've got 99% of the market expecting no change in interest rates. April, we'll see how the inflation affects that. Probably not too much, but we'll see. We've got the April one there, 86%. Now the inflation data coming out this week should play into April, so we might see a shift there. So keep a lookout for that. Only 13%, 14%. Expecting a rate cut by April. June is kind of the last meeting for Jerome Powell to be chair, if I'm right. We've got 35% in the market expecting a rate cut by June. But by July, we should have a new chair for the Fed. And I think it's Walsh, isn't it? Or Walsh, I think it is the one. And we've got 42% expecting a rate cut by them. So I definitely think by June, July, we should be able to get a rate cut on, right? So that'd be pretty bullish, get us back on track. I think rates have generally been up too high. We had lost jobs last month as well in the US, so that bodes for an interest rate cut. And so typically the Fed under Chair Powell has moved too late and too fast, and then of course moving down too slow is what I would say. A good rule of thumb is a 1-to-1 ratio, so they could definitely move down further from 3.75 probably to at least 2.75. So that's a one whole percentage point or 100 basis points. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I think it's a mismanagement by the chair and also holding back GDP growth. Probably 1% plus, 1.5% plus GDP growth, which results in a lot of jobs and a lot of welfare in the United States, right? All right, only crypto. Do you think Ethereum will get over 5K this year? Yeah, I'm pretty bullish about that actually. Yeah, in the second half of the year, that's when I think we're going to have the run. Now the midterm is going to be very interesting to play into that. It's like I think October, November, isn't it? So that's going to have a role. But if Trump can get a victory after victory after victory and not have it drag out too much, which is what he's trying to do. And the golden age of America really takes off with the economy, with a longer horizon, not for a couple of weeks with oil prices high, etc. Then yeah, we could get that really nice result there. Now I haven't looked recently at the House results. I do know there's going to be a bit of challenges there, but I think there's enough people to realize that actually America's way better off, safer, more prosperous, etc. And also winning in foreign policy, getting rid of world risks, then yeah, that could bode very well. The last time I looked, I think that was doing pretty well, but it's definitely a topic we should look at. All right, we got DJ and Hicks in the house there, 5555. Good to see DJ and Hicks again. Welcome. All right, so getting back to 5K too, we're going to talk about that because that actually is one of the reasons why Pulsechain will win, right? So let's talk about that. All right, so let's get into the majors. So that's sort of the stock market crypto news for Tuesday. We've got the crypto majors. Now, crypto was doing pretty well overnight. And here we are at the moment. We got, let me refresh this because it always seems to lag. We got crypto at 2.46 trillion, up 1.1%. And remember, we're expecting crypto to eventually, head over $100 trillion, right? That's kind of where we're heading. We've got a long way to go there, all right? 25x or so. We got Bitcoin at the moment at 70,000, so we're back over 70. Really fighting for 70,000 right now. I think we went up to 71,000 overnight. Let's have a quick look at the chart here. We'll have a look at the last 24 hours. You can see it started, the last 24 hours we were down at 69,150. We've zigzagged all the way up, but we actually got pretty high. We got $71,600 overnight. That's not pretty good. And we came back down to 69,600. We're climbing back up again over 70. So that fighting for 70,000 definitely going on in the last 24 hours. Over the last week, of course, you can see we came all the way down to 66K. And we have seen a range, I think, between 63.5K to 74K, right? That's what we're seeing. Let's see if we can see that in the monthly chart here. 63K down there, and 73K up here in the last month. So it's kind of the range, and we're on the top end of that, right? So 70K, really fighting to get back over there. So looking pretty good. And we know that MicroStrategy is doing some really master moves with Michael Saylor, particularly with MSTR and their bond products, their preferred stock products that are competing with the bond market. And they are able to raise a lot of capital in market, right, with high liquidity. And so we're seeing some really positive things happening there. And of course, that last purchase was pretty spectacular, about $1.2 billion, about 17,000 Bitcoin. Absolute game on. Now, think about if miners are earning a certain amount of, if miners are earning a certain amount of block reward. Well, Michael Saylor seems to be buying way more than that. So it's pretty exciting stuff going on there. Now, obviously, crypto is a lot more exotic now. We have, physical Bitcoin. We have paper Bitcoin like futures. And typically when you open the futures contract, someone's going to go long, but someone has to take the other side of it and has to go short. Typically, if someone goes short, they're typically going to have physical Bitcoin as well to go long. So they're going to hedge themselves as well. It's kind of some of the paper setups, and that can have impacts on the markets, particularly on delayed deliveries and things like that. So that's definitely an issue. But Michael Saylor is playing the master game here, and the market is loving it, right? So the market is helped funding his Bitcoin purchases, and it's about a 1-to-3 ratio between his preferred stock and between issuing shares. And so he's just got a couple of means of raising capital and buying more Bitcoin, and typically moving, just heading towards that 1 million Bitcoin, right? Presumably it's going to be accretive over the whole period of time, but certainly really outdoing the bond market. And we're talking about 11, 12%, 13% returns against the bond market, a couple percent at most. So it's a pretty clever game that Saylor's playing, right? All right, so that's kind of where we are on that one. And so Bitcoin heading up pretty strongly at the moment, and of course the market seems to be buying the old Trump view of the war right now, because he really does. They blow up everything up. It does leave Iran with few options. The army is their main one, and maybe a bit of terrorism. Activating sleeper cells, something like that. Now the other side of things is that we've got. And not only we got Michael Saylor doing his thing as the biggest dat, we've got obviously there'll be a bit of capital flight out of the Middle East too, probably going into stable coins and Bitcoin. So we've probably seen a bit of that stuff happen as well. And some of the selling that we saw up to this point, if we go have a look at the last, that's 3 months or so, we were up all around about 97,000 back in January 15, is probably also a lot of, OG Bitcoin holders selling as well, taking their capital. They've made mad gains. And so probably seeing quite a few variables like that play out. But in any case, we're looking pretty good here, fighting at 70K. Is there a chance for one more step down? That's the question. Tom Lee kind of feels like there'll be one more step down, maybe a 20% step later in the year, thinking that basically this move over 50% down is done. But will we get to 70%? That's the question. And we maybe need some other catalyst for that, right? That's probably where I would sit. So I think we're looking pretty good in the near term here on the old crypto, and probably going to have quite a nice little rally into the end of the year. Now, there is a thing called Power's Law, if you guys are familiar with that. And, Bitcoin probably holds to the Power Law best out of everything. And that would suggest also a 2x in Bitcoin price by the end of the year. So, back to basically the, maybe 130, 140. So we had 126 was the high, all-time high. So we could definitely get back to there by the end of the year with the Power Law looking pretty good too. So if you've seen the Power Law chart, we might pull it up on another live stream, getting in there as well. All right, so that is the old Bitcoin. I thought we'd spend a bit of time on that. We've got Ethereum at the moment at 2038. Now, these digital asset treasuries, these DATs, are very important. They're becoming a new structural feature, I would say, of the blockchain. So we've got obviously strategy for Bitcoin, and we've got definitely Bitmine immersion for Ethereum. There'll probably be two good treasuries for Ethereum, and the other one is SBET, right? So they're doing their DeFi thing and doing pretty well with that. But Bitmine immersion is going to be the kingpin, right? It's going to be winner takes all. And they're not just doing, as when I say structural, because not only will they have 5% of the ETH supply when they're all said and done, probably by the end of this year, but they also are actually bringing mass adoption to Ethereum and blockchain, right? So they're actually going to facilitate all this tokenization and the stablecoin stuff. They're going to be really leading that, and also going to do mass adoption with Generation Z and Generation Alpha. So all that's coming, and it's going to be fast because they've got the right means to do that, right? Through institutions and through Fundstrat, and also through Mr. Beast with the retail side of things. So it's going to be pretty fun. Now, like I say, there's not going to be the only game in town. I think we're going to have, Elon Musk X money is going to be trying to play for the billion users that are, interacting with X. So we're going to have, a couple key players doing different things, and Mr. Beast is going to be one of those, right? But mass adoption for ETH is going to be very, very cool through that. All right, so that's kind of cool. We got Frank White in the house there. Bang, bang. Pulse Gang, good to see you, Frank White. Welcome to the chat there as well. Now we're going to get back to some of these questions here. I see in the chat there. We'll get back to that once we get up to Pulsechain. They're both related to Richard Hart, so we'll get back up there later. All right, so Ethereum at the moment is at 2037. Obviously, like Bitcoin holdings over 70, we're over 2,000 here, and that's looking pretty good. So last 24 hours, we got up to $2,884. We're currently at 2,038, so fighting to stay over the 2K mark. Which is pretty cool. So, that's kind of the play. We obviously fell down from the 28th of January from 3K down here, and previously that we'd been up at 3,300 on January 15th. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. Now, Tom Lee has talked about the 14th at the end of the range with Tom DeMark there, the timing guru. And so that's in about 3 days' time. So that's the end of the week. So we have inflation data coming out this week. Obviously, we have, so that's going to be interesting how that affects the markets. Good news would be good. We also have the interest rate meeting next week. We have Tom Lee is currently at the Florida conference. I think he's probably finished that now. And we have them increasing their buys, right? They increased to 60K buys, 60,000 Ethereum. But the big thing was that they increased their cash position from 850 mil to 1.2 billion, which means that they can go and buy, $600 million worth of Ethereum. I mean, it's a large amount. It's like 200,000 or something. So they can go and buy, 400 million, buy 200,000 Ethereum. That's massive. So they can really move the market and try and help form the bottom, right? So they'll be watching the markets, watching the sentiment, everything, and trying to time that. And they talked about the 14th potentially being the bottom, and they can help make that. So keep an eye out for Ethereum over the next week, because we could see a Bitmine immersion alone helping form that bottom, and of course moving towards that 5 million ETH. They are targeting 6 million ETH, which is 5%. They currently got over 4.5 million, and they're sitting at about 3.75% of the total ETH supply, and they've already staked 2/3 of that. So that's pretty cool. Now, the other big thing we're expecting by the end of March, potentially, which is Q1, which is another 20 days, is the actual launch of Maven, right? Their bespoke staking platform. They're going to be using it on Ethereum, and they're also going to be providing it to third-party services. They're acting as the financial bridge, right, from TradeFi to Ethereum and blockchain, because they understand both of those markets, right? They are the bridge, and that leadership is going to be key. And so they're going to be helping a lot of nervous institutions, corporates, etc., to actually get ETH positions, stake ETH positions, go to Solana, do Solana as well. It's not just Ethereum, Solana. And so we're going to see a bit of multi-chain action there. That Maven will be big news for not only Bitmine immersion, but actually big news for Ethereum as well. So that's going to be really fun, really fun to watch. So keep an eye on that. We got Eddie in the house there. Hey, good to see Eddie. Welcome to the chat. Yeah, if you guys are watching, don't forget to hit the repost button on X. And if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, smash the subscribe button. It takes a moment to do that. Hit the bells for future notifications. And if you're on X as well, don't forget to smash the follow button there as well. We had some good growth on X over the last 2 days. So really appreciate everybody's support there. It really is cool. And yeah, if you guys you want to get all the intel as I see it flow in, then join our strategy club in Discord. Really is a great place to be. I'm constantly posting intel there. It's a great way of getting educated too if you're relatively new to crypto. And you can see the QR code just below me here on the video if you want to sign up straight away. It's just over $1 a day to join up, so pretty reasonable prices. So get in there on that too, and we'll look forward to having chats with you in the Discord. All right, so that's kind of the play there on the old Ethereum. So Ethereum looking pretty good. The bottom could be in this week, and Bitcoin measure can help make that bottom. So keep a lookout. Could be a lot of fireworks coming up. So we've got inflation. Obviously got the Iranian issue, which looks like it's dampened down because there's not much left for them to use. And then we've also got the interest rate meeting in a week. And then, of course, we could have big buying power from not only Ethereum, but also Michael Saylor is raising tons of capital right now to buy more Bitcoin. Already, I think yesterday alone, raised another 4,000 after their public posting of 17,000 buy. So this is some magical stuff, guys. These DATs are really playing a critical role moving forward, and it's only going to scale up. We're talking about some big, heavy stuff there. If you haven't watched my show yesterday, check that out because I did 3 shows yesterday, but I did the one on tokenization and also Bitmine. So those are 2 good ones to watch for some of the catalysts there. All right, so this is kind of cool. This is kind of where we are right now with Ethereum. Let's jump down to the rest of the markets right now. We've got BNB at number 4, up 0.7% at $643. We've got XRP up 1.4% at $1.39. Now, XRP is obviously going to get a lot of the payment rails because that's what they do already. So they're going to probably get an uplift from that with XRP, with Ripple. Right, so it's kind of the play there. Solana at number 7 is up 0.6%, $86. This also potentially compete with on the rail platform as well. Although obviously with the shutdowns of the blockchain and things like that in the past, it won't all make a lot of firms nervous about using them. Obviously do well for the meme coins and certain DeFi with the old Solana there. And we'll see how it gets on with tokenization. Probably have a role to play there too, as we've seen recently with the number of RWAs. And we covered that yesterday too. So go check out that tokenization video. Tron at the moment, number 8 is down 0.1% at 28.5 cents. Figure Helic there is down 0.5% at $1.04. And then Doge there is up 3.3% at 9.4 cents. Now Doge is the one to watch because of X money coming. With the fiat banking, we're going to, within 2 months, it's going to be global, Elon said yesterday, and therefore that's going to be huge, but they're going to add crypto into there, that, and Doge will definitely benefit from that. So that's going to be a big catalyst. So, definitely worth considering there, but do more research and so on that one. But we did do a video 2 days ago on X Money, I think it was, or Money X, so check that out. So those are top 10 right now, and Doge is up the most, 3.3%, probably on the back of that, the X Money wallet thing, and people are using the fiat side of it in the United States right now, and it looks really cool. They're going to cafes and everything else. It really is a game changer there, and at the moment, apparently they're offering 6% APY, so that's very, very attractive. So yeah, pretty cool. Best performer over the last week in the top 10 is Doge as well, up 4.7%. So there we go. But Bitcoin's still up 2.8% in the week, and Ethereum up 3.1% for the week, so not bad. Top performing top 100, we got Pi Network, funnily enough, up 37%, but pretty low base, 23 cents. OKB there up to 29%, number 2. Kite at number 3, up 21%. White Bitcoin up 12.6% for the week, and Sky up 11.4%. So those are the top 5. Top 1,000 performers over the last 24 hours. We've got Aria, Flow, and Naris, Naris protocol. And then trending overall on CoinGecko is Bitcoin, Pudgy Penguins, and Hyperliquid. Not surprised at that lineup. All right. So that is pretty much the crypto market at the moment. So we're up just under 1% right now. Bitcoin and not too bad there. Let's go to Pulsechain, and we've got some questions in the chat there about Pulsechain, so we'll try and get to those. We are going to be covering Pulse. Go Harry, this is Pulse prediction. We'll cover Pulse coming up here as well. And we got Only Crypto says, and what price do you think Ethereum will be before Richard Hart starts to deploy it back into the chain? I know that might be a silly. No, it's not a silly question at all, and I think we have the answer for that. Richard, I think, gave us that one. So, but we will speculate a bit beyond his comments. All right. So here we are on day 1034. There's Pulsechain. For those that are new to Pulsechain, we've got the price at quadruple 106. It is down 1.7% right now, but we're still holding those 4 zeros. Very key mark, right? But we are still only a 1/10 of the mean sacrifice price. Pretty huge. So for those that are not familiar, Pulsechain is a full system stake copy of Ethereum at the 10th of May 2023. So that's when it got forked, and it was pretty much the biggest airdrop of crypto assets. Of course, with that, price discovery has taken place over the last 1,034 days. For about 2 years, the SEC was hanging over Pulsechain, but Richard Hart led a pretty awesome legal team and has defeated the SEC. And as far as I know, is the only founder and only project to actually fully defeat the SEC and set some sort of precedent in law. So that's been pretty good for both Pulsex, Hex, and Richard Hart himself. So some good stuff there. Pulsex at the moment is at 50761, so still super discounted on the old Pulsex, down 1.17%, even more than Pulse. The buy and burn sitting at 8.65%. So Pulse is slightly inflationary with the validators. We would need a certain amount of volume. I'm not quite sure what that would be to get deflation on Pulse, but someone probably done some numbers on that. Pulsex at the moment is completely deflationary, so there's no inflation there. It's just deflationary. And then we got Ink token at the moment is 46, almost 47 cents, holding up pretty well actually, but down 3.7%. And we've got Hex on Pulsechain down 3% right now at 0.2 of a penny. EHEX, the original Hex, is at 0007. Not really much change in the last 3 days. Combined price of EX PX is sitting at just below 0.28 of a penny right now. So those are the Richard Hart cores. Pulse is the main chain. Pulsex is the big DEX. Incentive token was a former farm incentive token, no longer really playing out there. And then Hex, of course, is what we call a modified certificate of deposit from banking, but really it's a supercharged version. But it has a couple of mechanics in there, which is a topic in itself. So let's jump over to the gas prices. We've got 900,000 beats. We've pretty much been like that every day that we've been doing live streams. 0.3 of a penny right now for a Pulsex swap, so super cheap on Pulsechain. Validators at the moment sitting at 53,293 of active validators, and community service there, not too profitable at the moment, but great for the chain. We got 70.7 million in bridge stables, pretty similar the last couple of days, and of course only a fraction of the stablecoins sitting in LP pools, meaning that there's a lot of stablecoin on the sidelines, and we'll see whether that gets moved up. Right? We'll see whether that gets moved. And we get a mega pump on the old Pulsechain, even without Ethereum going over 5K, for example. So that's that. Let's have a look at the Pulsechain chart, and we'll get into some of these questions that we got in the chat. We got Go Harry, of course, Pulse prediction. We'll get into that. Might try and use some sort of Fibonacci for that one. We got, what price do you think Ethereum will be? Now, I wanted to talk about some of the fundamentals for Pulse. That's why we're at this Pulsechain chart now. Pulse is down 1.43% at the moment. We've got the daily chart in view. And we can see that we are sitting pretty strong, guys, over the 21 moving average. Very important mark there. So we're looking pretty solid. RSI sitting at 53. So we've got to be pretty happy with that. That is looking pretty strong there. We've got higher lows in the chart, slightly higher high here, but looking very good. As long as we don't have too much negative news, maybe CPI is good, etc. Tom Lee, the bottom is in on ETH and we go up. We're looking very good for a next move higher, guys. So I think it's more probable than not based on that. So we'd have to need some really big surprise on the Iran issue, because that does look like it's all under control from the United States. Not saying that Iran hardliners will surrender. Of course, that's not going to happen. They are basically extremist terrorists, so they're not really going to do that. Even the ones that are remaining, even though so we'll see how it goes. But on the positives, we're seeing everything else looking pretty good. So still looking pretty good. Probable or not that we're going to the upside here on the old Pulse. Now let's take a shorter time view and have a look at the 4 hour. This is the trading view. See the RSI is at 55, so we've had a nice pullback, nice a chance to go higher again. So that's very cool, and we can head back up into oversold territory, right? Or overbought territory, I should say. So that's still looking pretty good there, and we're also bounced off at the moment, at least, on the 4 hour, bounced off the 21 moving average on the 4 hour. So that's kind of cool. So we've had a look at the daily, we've had a look at the shorter time frame, still looking good to the upside. I think the fundamentals are still in favor of Pulse moving higher. We got the weekly coming off the bottom on the RSI. We're down oversold 29, and here we are. We've come off 7,800, right? 7,800 for Pulse, and we're now at 4 zeros, 1,000, holding that line. Very important line to hold psychologically, but really set to go higher. Now, the 21 weekly average is sitting all the way up here at 4 zeros, 1,700, and that's a decent little amount to move, but we can move there quite quickly, especially if we get a market maker in that's looking at all these charts and the fundamentals, and sometime maybe over the next day or two, if not the next week, decides to move us up higher. And so we could get a 60% gain just to get back to the 21 moving average here on the weekly. So that'd be one way of looking at a target. Let's jump over to the monthly and have a look a bit broader afield. That is the monthly chart there for Pulse. And let's have a look here. This Rat Pulse in particular, of course. We can see that we're up off the bottom about 37%. And all the way to the monthly average would be a 361% gain, which is a 4.6x. And that would be all the way up to 3,500 or 3,600 there. So it's quite a bit of work to go there, but we've got plenty of room on the outside to go because we've had so many waterfalls down, right? And remember, we got free from the SEC back here in July after 2 years, and we had a big green candle on that month, so it was pretty cool. Unfortunately, after that, we had 7 red months, right? 7 red months, but we got back to green, and I think we're looking pretty good. Now, the question is, what are the down catalysts? Have we got any more copied contracts that could be exploited? Well, apparently CryptoSolve suggests that we don't. So that could be good news. We're always going to have some, bad contracts on the Pulse chain, but I think they're probably going to be small retail plays. So nothing captures out the big market. We're fine. We've got quite a few. So that's kind of the negatives. And hopefully, Pulsechain users start moving their capital to quality projects, right? It's not just about people exploiting, but actually people putting LP in those projects, and actually people moving capital to the better projects, right? The quality projects, which I'm going to do a video on. The blue chip projects. I've been saying it for some time, but we're going to do that. And that would be suggestive of where capital should flow. Once again, everyone has to do their own financial due diligence. But yeah, we're going to do a video on that because I think it's pretty important. So good chance that 7,800 was the low, assuming those assumptions I made are right about the big contracts we're talking about, the Maker DAO, etc. All those ones compound, all those sort of issues that we had. So let's see what happens. We also had new projects launch that failed as well, like Better Bank, things like that. As long as we don't really get too many of those moving forward, that's going to be really, really important. So people are going to really have to think about the code and the audits of the code, and also the people that are launching the projects, right? So there's lots of things to think about there moving ahead. Now, that's on the kind of a negative on the down low. Now, we're also assuming we haven't got some of the sacrifice whales. That's the other big catalyst that has sold us down, right, is the big sacrifice process, particularly some of those with hexagon values that had high hexagon values when they went to sacrifice, and so they had a lower average they could go down to. And there's a couple of names out there. I won't go into the drama or all that, but so they've just calmed down for a little bit. We're always going to have some of those guys selling, right? So it's just about what are we going to have buying more than selling over that period, so they can exit, but the market still moves up. So that's kind of what we're talking about. Now that leaves aside all the Richard Hart stuff, and we're going to talk about that separately. And that's kind of where we are right now. We had our whales launch, right? We had Firewhale do some stuff that ended up failing. So that was a big fail there. There was obviously opportunity in there short term, but it ended up being a big fail for Pulsechain generally with sustainable products. We'll see what happens. Firewhale's talked about he's going to come back again, have another go. We'll see, but wasn't really didn't deliver a lot of the stuff that was claimed to, and we kept an open mind about that, right? So we're just watching results, do actions, and results follow up, claims and things like that. So we try to get in mind there, but that was pretty much a fail for Pulsechain, if you think as a greater public good. So far, Rack and Rochelle with Coin Mafia, quick, modest there, not really being a lot of uptake. We haven't seen a lot of the influencers rolled out yet. Is that something that he's going to trigger later on? Question mark over that, right? With the influencers on other chains, he's talked about that being in the millions. So that certainly doesn't seem to have been activated yet. So we'll keep an open mind on that. And we wish him the best. I want to see him in action. Where does the venture capitalist? I want to see him in action, and I want to see stuff happen. So I'm open-minded about that, and we'll see where that all lands too. So those are two sort of big public whales and those catalysts. So it really does leave us with some. What do we got left as positive catalysts to the upside? Well, we've got some pretty good project developers launching, right? So we've got Liberty Swap. We got people like Fast Abdul with Vault 369. We got people like Stu, people like Jacob out there. So we have got some really good developers. We've got a lot of good farm developers, through from Emmett, True Farm, Nexian, these Function On, these kind of guys. So we have a lot of value there. We obviously had some good liquidity forks. Vault 369 is going to be the latest one on that one. We'll see what happens with Coinwell from Rack and Michelle. So we've got a few things, to the upside to expect, potentially in the next few months. And of course, they'll be looking at the market sentiment as well. They do, to be fair to them, they do need, an uplift in market as well. So we'd like to see this Pulsechain chart, grow some green candles, for goodness sake, and moving forward. So at the moment, it's looking positive for it. And let's see where that can continue, and we can get some good launches going there. So that's kind of some of the stuff happening there on the old Pulsechain in terms of the fundamentals. Now, Richard Hart, of course, always going to be the key player here. We did have others. We had Sun Minimeal. They had potentially for being a very big catalyst for European institutional money. And, of course, the buy and burn from corporate profits could be mega huge. But we haven't really seen that be applied to Pulsechain. Looks like they are going to go to Solana, but the token's still sitting on Pulsechain at the moment. So that would have been a cool catalyst. We still have, Rack and Michelle still question mark over bringing big money in from the United States. So, we'll see what happens. We've got to give them at least a year to play the strategy out. I'm not just going to do a month or two. It does take time to get things in the right place. And, of course, momentum in the general market also to pick up. So we're going to keep open mind there. And then, we've currently got Liberty Swap bring extra capital in. So where's that capital coming from? They've got obviously earning fees, and they're broadening out their product suite. They're at the frontier of privacy, intent-based trading, all that sort of stuff. They're going to looking to unified liquidity. They've got a lot of cool stuff coming up with that, with a wallet, privacy / wallet. That's going to be really amazing. They've got lots of stuff in store. So that's going to be, definitely, I call it the Kraken of Pulsechain, is kind of the frontier product on Pulsechain. That's not to take away from products like Internet Money, which are on every single, Apple Play Store and Google Play Store, etc., and doing a great job there. But in terms of fronting one of the key narratives, it will be obviously privacy is going to be a big one there. So it's really good to be on the frontier of all that. So let's get to Richard Hart and some of these questions around that, and then we're going to do a little bit of we might do a Fibonacci extension and look at some of the prices. Now, I haven't got on here. We're going to go back to the daily. I haven't got other moving averages. I've just got the 21 at the moment on here. I haven't got a short term like a 9 and a 34. I haven't got a longer term 50 and a 200 on here. But so far over the 21, looking real solid, and the 21 is a pretty key moving average here, that 3-week average. So let's have a look at the first one here. We got Only Crypto says, what price do you think Richard Hart will be Ethereum? Now, obviously, Pulsechain will win. So what do I mean by that? Well, we've got Pulsechain as a full system state fork of Ethereum. Even though we've got price discovery on all the assets, we've had a lot of black swan events. We've had a lot of the contracts, get copied over that got exploited, etc., or taken advantage of, all those sort of things. We actually had decent price discovery, right? We got a decent amount of capital over on the chain. And so we've got a couple of things. We've seen Richard Hart make a lot of technical moves since last year, the beginning of the year, all the way through to this year, from, tweaking certain things, tweaking HEX, inflation around HEX, rewards around HEX, all that sort of stuff, tweaking the PulseX farms, taking away incentives, things like that, readjusting incentives on the chain. So Richard's definitely done a lot of tactical moves. We've also seen him bring out new products like the ProveX, right? And that has gone to testnet recently with the token distribution. So that's getting pretty close. So Richard's also moved on marketing with the iPad promotions, trying a few different things, getting the community involved. We've got the Hive over in California there. A lot of people volunteering time and doing all sorts of different methods to reaching, sending those out and reaching new people. So it's kind of got all that playing in. We have had new influencers come in. We've had a number of new influencers, big ones, get attracted to Pulsechain over the last year. So these things are working. between iPads and the community's efforts to do X Spaces and reach out to people, it is working. We've seen some big X Space conferences and things like that. So we are getting some momentum with fresh blood, as we call, and very large influence as well, all the way from Xavier, all the way recently to just this week alone to Jana there as well. So Fire Queen, she's going to be Fire Queen there. And very large influencers with hundreds of thousands of people in accounts. So really in the top 3,000-4,000 influencers on X. So we are getting some good traction on that front as well. And this is still in a bear market for Pulsechain coming off the bottom. So we've got a lot of that cool catalyst stuff. Richard has been doing a lot of tactical moves, but the big moves coming up. What else will he be doing? Well, I think new protocols is definitely an area he can add a lot of value. Whether he goes in to do his own wallet or does a stablecoin will be interesting, because obviously we're getting other groups like Liberty Swap doing a wallet, Ramp now talking about doing a wallet. So we've got other wallet providers coming. We do need more wallets. As good as internet money is and as widely accessible as internet money is, we do need other wallets as well, so that people have different choices in the wallet space. So it was good to see some leading teams like Ramp Now and Liberty Swap bring that to market. Now, will Richard Hart do a wallet? Will Richard Hart do a stablecoin? We've had him, he's talked about that in the past as part of his roadmap. And will one of those, unlike ProveX, which used a lot of Ethereum and major capital, crypto capital, and didn't use the Pulsechain cores, will one of these other projects, if he does it, so I'm speculating now, does he do a sacrifice with those, and does it include the Richard cores? Because that would be a great supply sync, and that would be pretty neat as well. So you'd have a win-win across the board with the ProveX sacrifice with the crypto majors and fiat, as well as the Pulsechain cores. I don't know if he's going to do that. It makes a lot of sense to me, but maybe people might find that controversial. We'll see. And then secondly, will he do a stablecoin? Obviously, stablecoins are extremely profitable, but he would really have to align that with getting yield on the other side, right? So most of the stablecoins we see with Circle, Tether, etc., are all US-backed treasuries, and they earn a good yield on that, right? Making it very profitable as they scale the stablecoins. The revenue scales, right? So will we see something like that? We shall see. There will be under the Genius Act, I think you got $50 million stables. You do have to register yourself and things like that. So there are regulatory issues there. So we're going to keep a lookout for some of those moves. Now, obviously, we also have the sacrifice money. And if you're in the camp that believes that will be used, which is the camp that I'm in at some stage, not only do we have all these stable coins existing on Pulsechain that could move the markets, but we have potentially that magic carpet ride ETH from the Pulsechain and Pulsex sacrifices, about 171,000 ETH. And that has all been hidden these days. There is a nice method for it to come over to Pulsechain now, which is through Liberty Swap. And so that's kind of cool. It all worked out pretty perfect. Is Liberty Swap being funded? Are they in some way related to Richard? I don't know. We'll see. There's a few blues clues. We certainly know Crypto Sparbook is involved. Maybe there's some back channels there. We know Captain RG3 seems to have some back channels with Richard and things like that. There's a few little connections there. Will we see the Magic Cup Ride money obviously be used at some stage? Now, some of it could be used at any time. It's 171,000. You could use some of it any time to do little mini pumps to help the market structure. We can see the market structure in front of us. So what is the amount? Get back to Only Crypto's question, where we might see it. Well, Richard gave us already a number, right? He gave us a number in, I think, the Christmas video last year, and that was $10,000 ETH. And $10,000 ETH seems a pretty good number to me. Now, I think that there's a lot of people in the camp that think if we get to 5,000 ETH, which was our sort of we didn't quite crack it last time, that once we've cracked that, it's game on for ETH, right? A really explosive move for ETH. And therefore, people holding ETH will get very wealthy very quickly. And that includes the Magic Cup Ride ETH at 171,000, right? So that could get re-rated into the billions of dollars, as ETH goes up. And you could just scrape off a little bit and pump good old Pulsechain with the thin liquidity because it's going to be easy to move, right? Mega easy to move. So, and that could really turn things around. And all the people that couldn't hold on for multiple years through Pulsechain, 1,030 days plus the run up to the launch will end up being rewarded, right? They'll be the rewarded there. And not at the moment. At the moment, you can pick up so much volume. You're picking up all that sacrifice volume, right? So all the sacrifices that sold down, it's now 1/10 of what it was you are picking it up. You are picking it up. We got a massive redistribution, and it's pretty crazy. You can also lower your average price if you bought much higher too. If you were part of the sacrifice, you can dramatically reduce that too. But you've still got to be able to believe in the fundamentals of where Pulsechain. I think the fundamentals are looking pretty good. We've got thin liquidity. We've got Hart's Law bonding. We've got enough developers and protocols launching enough innovative DeFi on the chain. Obviously, we want that to ramp up. The more, the merrier. But we have got some key players there, and we seem to have potentially a lot of the big contract issues, exploits have probably subsided now. And we do see a little bit of a maturing in the market and Pulsechain moving to better quality assets. Now, that needs to continue. We're always going to have the pump and dumpers and the pump tires and all the rest of it. But actually, it looks like we're getting capital flowing. And hopefully, we'll get a bit better diamond hands, people actually investing rather than just speculating all the time. Now, we're always going to have both, but we do need to shift the percentage over a little bit into the investing sides. And I think True DeFi has played a good role in that recently, trying to make that happen as well. So kind of cool. All right, so $10,000 ETH seems to be a key mark for Richard, but it doesn't mean that he can't move stuff well before that, maybe by 5K. 5K would be the other mark that I think is probably tempting. Remember that the average price was about $3,773. So anything above that, you could argue could start moving a little bit of capital over there, into the Pulsechain. But there's probably quite a bit of capital already on Pulsechain. So keep a lookout for that. So that's some of the arguments there. So definitely think 5K, 10K key marks there. And that would be to complement whatever he does with any product rollout, whether it's ProveX, what he does around that with LP and buying and everything else, and how that pumps Pulsechain, helps with the sentiment of Pulsechain. We saw a pretty good positive sentiment with the announcement of the testnet tokens, and also how that all works together. So, we just keep looking at all those chess moves of Richard as he moves forward there. And of course, he talked about before in Christmas, he talked about, I'm not interested in altcoin season, I'm interested in Pulsechain season. So for those that are critical, it seems to be top of mind for him. So that's kind of where I see that at the moment. I'm going to keep a lookout for all that stuff from Richard Hart. Now, that's the pump mentor from Richard Hart doing things like those, all those different moves. But actually, will he go even further? Will he do something that's fractionalized? I'll be really interested to see whether he can do that. The banking system, of course, with bank lending is fractionalized. Can he do something that's fractionalized and really get a leverage on any capital he has? So that's another open question there. And we'll see how that goes at the moment. I know there's a lot of critics of that, but we'll see. We'll see whether the genius can do something that we haven't really seen too easily done around fractionalization. So that would be pretty cool. What else? So that is Richard Hart. That's kind of the rest of the chains to pump mentals. But actually, think about it. We've got thin liquidity. We want to get, obviously, the volume turnover picked up. We can move the market pretty quickly to the upside. We get a market maker doing that. Hopefully, a lot of the downside things are moderated relative to the upside catalysts, and we can really start to move on. Certainly, the chart's looking good at the moment on the TA side of things. And then, Richard making some moves as well would help a lot. Are there any other key players that we're missing? Well, definitely Liberty Swap looks like they're doing some cool stuff. And anything that's multi-chain that brings capital into Pulsechain will be good. So we are excited about Vault 369 and other projects like that should help. And of course, Jacob's out there working on a few things as well. Now, once ETH goes up, not only Richard Hart's Magic Upride is going to get valuable, but PSD Algo with the capital there will also get to a significant amount. And that should get to a point where that should be able to launch PSD Algo, assuming Signum Oracle is launched. So that's another sort of pump mental out there too, sitting out there. Now, Pulse prediction there. Now, obviously, we gave some based on the moving averages here with the 21. So I think we said 1600 would be the next short-term mark based on that. But we can use other tools. There's other tools we can use, like Fibonacci's. We've got Fibonacci extensions as well that we can use. And that would give us an idea of things. So a 1.68 here at the moment on the daily would give us 1334 as a potential target. So, and then we got a 2.618 give us 16.74, which is pretty in line with the weekly 21 moving average of 1600. So those are probably two good levels, 1300 and 1600 in the short term that we could probably reasonably get to, right? So pretty exciting. Now, this excludes any God mode candle. Richard did talk about at the beginning of last year, remember, that because of liquidity being quite thin and some of the tactical moves he's made around Pulsex and Hex and things like that, liquidity, that we could see a God mode candle at any time. So that's always true. It's more true now than ever with the old liquidity on Pulsechain. And so something to think about. Now, relatively speaking, the smallest liquidity we know is Hex, right, out of the Richard cores. And then the bigger liquidities are Pulse and Pulsex, right? So that's pretty interesting. And we know that anything that pushes Pulse up is going to push up the US dollar price of everything else, all things equal, right? Ceteris paribus, as they say. So that's kind of the play there. So that's a couple of short-term ones that hopefully help out with some of those questions. Let me know your thoughts on that. And Only Crypto says, have you seen PTC chart lately? Yeah, we have talked about PTC the other day. We did quite a dedicated coverage to that. We will go check it up when we do the market trends as well just now. Marco says, do you think we bottomed at 60K Kryptonite? I think it's a very good chance, although there is still one risk we have a 20% correction later in the year. Maybe in May, sell in May and go away or something. So we'll see out. But March and April might end up being, at least modestly good months. Maybe March slightly up month, and then maybe April a good green month, and then maybe we have a sell in May, go away kind of thing. We'll see. Sean O'Malley in house there. Good morning, Chads. Good morning, Sean. And up only indeed, up and on. Man, you're really starting to make that trending, Sean. Isn't that funny? You just put that out by yourself all the time. You got reposted by Crypto Coffee, one of the biggest influencers in Pulsechain, and I see more people starting to use it. So I don't know, maybe a token launch or something. I don't know. It's definitely, that's been hilarious to watch. So keep up the good work there. Up only indeed. It's becoming a trend there. Probably a good thing off the bottom too, and we're at the bottom here. All right, so that's some of where we are with the Pulsechain in the short term. Making long-term predictions, obviously, always more difficult. But once we get an uptrend here in Pulsechain, let's get rid of all that chart. Let's get rid of the Fibonacci extensions. Once we've had a downtrend, obviously here. Once we get the uptrend, we'll get the uptrend on the other side, and that's beautiful, right? We also know that from where Ethereum and Bitcoin have gone, we typically get a V recovery, right? So that V recovery should help Pulsechain get some sort of V recovery as well. And assuming we don't have any more of these black swan events left, which does look like the case, and CryptoSolve's pretty confident about that. We'll see where we go. So we could have a nice little V recovery. And once we start getting parabolics, we know Richard Hart is very good at that. We had 13 parabolics from the old Hex. Obviously, if you treat Pulsechain as just like a Hex, then you can move it up with the old Pulse. So we'll keep a lookout for that too. Those two things working in tandem in the market there. Now, the other fundamentals I want to say about how Pulsechain will win, we've gone through a lot of the ones just specialized or specific to Pulsechain, but actually the broader market is going to make Pulsechain win, right? And because Pulsechain is a full system state fork of Ethereum, we're going to get all the fundamentals from Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? So Michael Saylor's pumping Bitcoin. We got all the mega things about tokenization, stablecoins, the regulatory stuff supporting crypto. And then we've also got Tom Lee doing the same thing, but even bigger, I would argue, over on with mass adoption as well as tokenization, stablecoins, and I think that's huge, right? And that's going to be massive. So, and with Mr. Beast, so that's all coming through Bitmine Immersion. They both have the top liquidities, right? So they're dominating like 9% of the liquidity. They're able to raise capital because of that, and so they're just buying more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, making more likely, and that's lifting the whole crypto market, and that's going to lift Pulsechain, right? And Pulsechain is a system state fork of Ethereum, which makes it pretty special. And that's also able to get all the upgrades from Ethereum. So Vitalik's done a new roadmap around privacy, which is funny enough, that's where Liberty Swap has been front leading, right? And then they've also done a roadmap about quantum risk, right? And actually dealing with quantum risk. And that's also what we see happening. We're going to get the upgrades for that. So we get free upgrades, guys, with all these issues. And thanks very much. Obviously we've got pre-tap developers and people like that having to do it, but we're going to get these upgrades. It's fantastic. It's just a brilliant move. That side of it's pretty neat. So if you add all this market fundamentals, and then you add Richard Hart and all the developers that are actually building quality projects, and you have argued that the risks are mitigated, there's always still going to be some things that happen, but you argue that the big ones are potentially out of the way. then we've really got the chance to go up. And the more chance we go up is really reliant on the market actually pushing their value, their liquidity into quality assets, right? Now, the only thing that I see left that's really a downer, still even at this level, is potential sacrifices, right? So if they still got that mentality, they want to, even down at 1/10 of the mean sacrifice price that they want to dump, that's always going to be a bit of risk. But I do think that they must be getting down to a point where they're getting pretty exhausted. So maybe that's not as bad a catalyst now. Now, does that mean that if we get a 2-3x from here that they start selling again? Well, that's definitely plausible, particularly the large sacrifices. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in that space. Once we get an uptrend, maybe they all just start becoming believers. And I'm not talking about Justin believers. I'm talking about Pulsechain believers. So there we go. So pretty awesome stuff. Now, with this, of course, we still have the challenges of the market. We're still going to get the Clarity Act through. That is critical. I think everything else is already on the go. Tokenization, stable coins, the mass adoption play. That's all in there. The financial market coming over to crypto, that's all in play, and it's going to be pretty exciting. Now, the question is, how much of that stuff will Pulsechain get on top of it? So, we'll get the uplift from everything these guys are doing in Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc., Solana. But what actually will we get specifically? Are we going to have anyone going to be able to, do stable coins and be Genius Act compliant? Are we going to get anything big like that? Because that's, a bit of capital, and we haven't really got into that level yet. Richard Hart's probably the only one that could get us there, right? At the moment, we did have a couple of potential alternatives, like I said, with Sun Minimal and potentially Rack and Rochelle, depending on how well connected he is still with the Saudi money and United States, etc. But can we actually get something set up like that's of that scale? That'd be pretty interesting. Obviously around payment rails and things like that. So we have little niche markets like Ramp now and that sort of stuff. But are we going to be able to get some bigger players of doing stuff? That's a question mark in the future there. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. Certainly opportunities there as well. On pump tires, yeah. So we got pump tires too. Obviously, that's ticking away, and of course, that's actually unlike fund, a pump fund where all the capital goes to the profits of the corporate. Pump tires is actually burning away Pulse, isn't it? I think it is. So doing a great job there. So it's a much better design, isn't it? Token bonded this morning, says Sean. Oh, nice. Up only bonded this morning. All right. Congratulations to you on pump tires. Nice. Well, we might even see that on the charts today. All right, so we're up to an hour and 2 minutes. Hopefully, I've covered a lot of good topics. Let me know if anything that I've missed that you think that was an obvious one that I missed there. But actually, if we add the market, we add Pulsechain catalyst, we're looking pretty good for Pulsechain to win, right? And especially coming off the bottom here, V-shaped recovery, all the pump metals does look pretty exciting, guys. Does look pretty exciting down here at the moment. All right, so let's jump over to the Pulsechain markets. At the moment, obviously, we had a bit of a pullback in the market with overnight rally, just subsiding a little bit. Looks like it's picking up again, though. We got staked ETH here, fork copy, up 10%. It's kind of the best performer in the trending. This is the default trending, of course. There's many other tokens on Pulsechain probably performing much better than this, but this is the default view. We got SCADA at number 2, back up in the leaderboard there. It was down at the bottom yesterday, wasn't it, or the day before? It's back up 9% now, and that's ticking away there. That's from the Nuke Supply team. Pretty niche sort of DeFi retail tokenomics. Very, very cool. We like what they do. Then we got James and Maria. James and Maria always popping its head up here. So we've got the teddy bear. Now, James and Maria's launched many, many tokens, right, in different waves. And teddy bear is kind of the meme coin version that's supposed to, I think in his mind, supposed to represent the overall value. But anyway, it is up about 5-6% today on the move. We got Unity from Cryptographics, an influencer and developer on Pulsechain, up 4.8%, so making a little move there at 2.7 cents. We got Morbius. Now, Morbius is moving into gaming. You guys know we like gaming, but we need gaming that's going to be reliable, a reliable founder, reliable protocol, and Morbius seems like they're rolling that out. So big shout out to Kyle out there doing that, and that's up 4.8%. We're probably going to look to do some coverage of Morbius coming up. I think they've got some poker games and things like that on there, so we're going to try and check that out. We've got Smorg at the moment, up 4.5% right now at number 11. Troper from James Maria, so we've got Teddy Bear up here, we've got Troper as well, and we've got Reserve Tay in here as well, 13.14. all up about 4%. So a bit of a movement for James Maria at the moment. Phoenix up 2%. X Game from Firewall up 2% there. Gizmo is currently up 1%. And Ink Dollar there from Fast Abdul is up 2/3%. So we've got 20 coins that are slightly in the green on the 24 hours right now. So everything else is pretty much pulled back on the US dollar terms. And of course, most of them below Pulsechain. Now, the big interesting one is that we saw after Peacock, after Liberty Swap launched Liberty X, which is huge protocol addition for Pulsechain around intent-based trading. Really fantastic. We had some profit, right? So people selling the news and taking some profit there on the pullback, slight pullback in the majors there. So that's kind of what we're seeing. But the good news is that Peacock has got more to come as well. And typically what we do see is we do see a bit of sell the news event on Peacock every time they launch something. And then within the next week later, often it can slowly just creep back up as people go for value, right? People go for value there. So we'll keep a looking out for that. But that is the chart. Now we do have this pendant thing here. And it looked like it was breaking out. So nothing to stop that yet. We're still moving over the averages there. So we'll keep a lookout for that to the upside. But let's go have a look at Liberty Swap here as well, in what they're what they've been saying over the last sort of 20 hours. So let's see where we're up here. They're still obviously doing a lot of improvements, but I just wanted to get back to. We've got to go all the way down here because they've been so busy lately. Yeah, let's see here. They've had lots of updates. You got to keep up to date with their X account because they're giving lots of updates all the time. Now I want to just go back to the launch. So let's scroll down here. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. So yeah, 10th of March, Liberty X is here. So they launched Liberty X, which is awesome. So Liberty X is live. And let me know in the chat if you've actually used it or not. Let me know already. But let's scroll up here. Now, it's pretty much intent-based trading. Uses on Pulsechain, uses Batias, pulsex.com, 90mm Pro, so it goes through the liquidity. It does off-market and then gets you the best result, right? It also has the MEV bot protection, which is really, I think, the true version of that on Pulsechain. So it's really great, and also no gas, gas free. So it's pretty awesome. Now let's see what else. They've also Liberty pools and dexes primarily use wrap pulse, so they've got all that stuff in there. I won't go through all the little minor details. So even though the sold the news has happened here on the candles, they've got this month coming up. They got the ZKX wallet. That's a big deal, right? I think we can all appreciate that. It's going to be a modified privacy wallet. So it's going to be, kind of a normal wallet and a privacy wallet mixed together. Going to make it a lot easier for people to use the privacy solutions and not just the big players that take the time to learn how to use privacy wallets, but also the retail book to make it a lot easier and also give another option for people to use, wallets on Pulsechain and, of course, through LibertySwap be able to access everything, right? So pretty awesome. So that's going to be completed this month. So another huge catalyst coming up for Liberty Swap. And also they're going to have, if you got Peacock, a proportion of the ZKX token drop that's going with this wallet will be allocated to Peacock. Now, I'm not sure what percentage it is, whether it's 50-50 or 70 or something, but that's something coming up as well. So another big deal coming up for another major launch. We will send the code for internal invited testing. Private Pulsex Uniswap V4 is on the way as well. So they're adding in the V4. That's going to be pretty cool. So they're doing that themselves. V4 technology coming to Pulsechain as well for the Uniswap. Pretty awesome. You can see these guys are just keep delivering really a big product. So pretty awesome stuff there. Now, obviously, they've been putting out a lot of different posts out here, adding in Polygon as well for the existing products that they've got. They've got the Shield, remember. They've obviously got ZK Privacy as well, a multi-chain, of course. So they've added Pulsechain in there. Let me just scroll up here. They've had a few little updates. I just want to get to anything new. Getting a lot of influencers talking about them, of course. Let's scroll up here. Next month, they said. Next month, our priority is to open up Liberty X order filler market maker infrastructure to the public. So Liberty X will be, opening up there. Any participant will be able to run their own filler node and compete to execute orders by providing the best possible price. That'll be interesting. So some of the other service providers. System will operate as a complete order filling marketplace where multiple fillers submit quotes and the most favorable execution is selected. Its architecture is to ensure that users consistently receive the best available price. Participants can also operate their own liquidity sources or pools, submit superior quotes for specific assets. If your system provides the best executable quote, the order will be routed to your filler for execution, similar to our traditional markets makers win order flows by quoting their prices. So up only, says Sean, up only indeed. So that is pretty cool. Let us scroll up here a bit further. Liberty Swap makes Pulsechain more connected. Liberty X makes Pulsechain trading a zero fee and gasless. Liberty Shield and Railgun Instance make transactions private. ZKX Wallet, which is coming up this later this month, maybe next month, makes privacy normal and easy. How about that? So really pulling together their whole ecosystem here, and of course bridging the Pulsechain as well. Right. So keep forward pushing there. Some pretty awesome stuff there. I'm going to repost that one. That's a good one. All right, so this keeps going up there. So that is pretty much it from Liberty Swap. Looking pretty good. So, this is looking good for the future. Once we truly break out of this pendant thing, it's going to be game on, I'm sure. Absolute game on there. All right, so let's scroll back into the other ones that are kind of pulled back down here. We had Vouch as well. So Vouch obviously must have had some big seller, maybe some full selling as well with the validators. I don't know. But this is retraced dramatically. Now, Vouch is the number one validator on Pulsechain. Looks like we've had some major event happening here. I'm not sure whether they've commentated on that. But let's see what went on here. They've got about 8% or so of the validators. Remember, there's 53,000 validators. We saw some decent selling here. The liquidity is relatively thin, 81K. But it looks like 3 hours ago they had some significant seller here with this wallet. So I don't know, it looks a little bit of a trading wallet, but nevertheless, some selling going on there. Let's see whether there was any commentary on that with the number one validator, Vouch. Let's see here. Let's pull it up. I don't know whether they've got a commentary, but we're going to see whether they have or not. No real commentary on that that I can see. All right, so there we go. Now, I do understand if they have a certain amount, if they have a large player, I think unstaked from their platform, they have to sell some of their validators out or something like that. They got two different types of validators. Interesting stuff there. We probably should do more deep dive into that. All right, let's jump into there. That's pretty interesting that's down so dramatically. 26% is down a lot, right? That's on the Pulse. Now, typically you would expect that to move generally with the Pulse price, but also it would move fundamentally if any key player was selling it down or going in, into the system or something like that. So anyway, big down day there. Pretty big down day. 9mm also down 17% as well. So I don't know if there's some link there between 9mm and Vouch, between that sell down or something. But 9mm's down 17% as well. Pretty dramatic. It's pretty weird. These are, key. 9mm is the second. We've got two main dexes, right? 9mm is the second big dex, and that is down as well quite significantly, 17%. So some pretty unusual stuff there. So something must have gone on there. I don't know if anyone's done any analysis on that, but interesting that both of those are down right now. I can understand Peacock and the trifecta there with Zero and Zendog being down because all tied into Peacock, selling the news, and with the 10% correction, that seems pretty normal. But 9mm and Vouch down there, that's pretty unusual. 17 and 26%, particularly dramatic. So definitely something out there. I don't know if anyone's been commentating on that, but that is pretty interesting. So yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. So Pulse holding the line, 4 zeros, 1,000. Now you said Up Only is launched. I don't know whether there's a token out there. Let's look at Up Only. Up Only. Let's see if we can find it without Up Only. Is this the one? 5 hours. Yeah. Okay. 5 hours. Let's see. No financial advice. I haven't done any checks around this, but let's have a look there. So that's a general pretty pump tires. Is the bottom in? I don't know. It's very speculative, but that is up there. I guess it's got 1 billion tokens. Liquidity $3,100 there, 5,400. What's the market cap? Let's look at that. What was that? It started off with a huge market cap, was it? Well, not huge, but $12,000, $7,800 right now. So, hey, Up Only, you never know. It could become a crazy thing, right, Sean? We got Crypto League in the house there. Hi, good to see Crypto League. Welcome to the chat as well. Only Crypto says, what are your thoughts on PDI? Do you think it will peak? Now, I'm not. Look, I've always been open-minded about PDI, but I'm not a big fan of PDI because I don't. It's failed time after time after time. Right now, it has a big community. So, what are the key catalysts? It has a big community. It has Somi and has a few other influencers back it, but it hasn't delivered, has it? I mean, there's been profitable times. It goes up and you make profits, and you can sell and you make losses. People made profits, people made losses, and we've watched those events. I've been part of those events in the Discord, but really, it's a dog's breakfast. And until someone actually creates a protocol that actually utilizes it and helps push the price up, I'm not saying it's going to peg at $1 at all, but as soon as someone and we've had multiple failed attempts at that. Better Banks, the last one that we can recall that was really big. I mean, they had like, was it 35 million, 35 million LP, and then it went all pretty much down to, was it $1 million now? I don't know what the relaunch is. Pretty small. So yeah, not a big fan. But keep open minded. It's crypto after all. You never know. But actually, there's better opportunities on Pulsechain. There's just better quality products and less compromise, less rug pulling the money. Right. So get rid of the whales that control those kind of tokens, and push your value into better products that are going to be around, and you're not going to be exit capital for these big players like James Maria or Carey or any of the big influencers holding the token supply, right? So I'm just not. It's not a big fan, but I try to keep open mind about it. It does have a big community. They are pretty crazy, zealots. Does have some big influences, but really it just seems like a dead token to me in many ways. So I think there's some much better opportunities out there on Pulsechain. I'd like to see capital move to better quality projects. So yeah, once again, the market will decide. I'm not the market. This is my opinion there. What else? Cryptolix is in the house. 1 billion pulse, is it a good bag? Yes, I think 1 billion pulse is a very good bag on the old Pulsechain. I would even at the moment, a 1 billion pulse would be a very good bag on Pulsechain. Remember that when we did the Pulsechain sacrifice, there were about 1,000 sacrifices that sacrificed about $85 million approximately. They got 1 billion pulse. That's how much the pulse they were getting. So that gives you an idea of where that would be, even if we got back to 0001, right? So take note of that. So 1 billion. But I do think that anything 100 million pulse or more is actually not too bad. I mean, it just depends on where we go with Pulsechain, how far Richard takes it. But if we do some big giant X's, like back with the Hex type of thing, then even 50 million pulse might be worth something pretty decent. But definitely 100 million and billion for sure. Billion is a very good bag. Sean and him says, I had 25% of the supply, sold half. Diamond hands the rest for the bill run. Nice one there, Sean. You're very good at this stuff. Very cool. We'll buy the dips, says Sean. We'll buy the dips. There we go. All right. So that is up only token there. What else? Let's see. So that's pretty much it right now. Some pretty big drama. I really probably look into that afterwards, after the show. I just saw it here live, the 90mm and the vouch. I'll be looking into that. That's pretty dramatic down. It's very, very dramatic. And we've got, I'd sell the news event on Peacock. Not surprising there. But like I say, they got the ZKX wallet coming up. If you're holding Peacock, you're going to get an airdrop from that, as well as benefit from the continual expansion of Liberty Swap's offerings, right? And which are pretty amazing. So keep a lookout. Now, the next, we've got some big developers. We've got Fast Abdul out there. We got, Jacob. We got Stu. We've got other teams building farms. We've got Kairos out there. We got, Donnie D. We got, who else is out there building stuff? So we got True DeFi. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there building value. We're going to keep our eye out on all of them. We've got Morbius out there doing the gaming side of things, which is great. We do want a big gaming thing. As you guys know, I love gaming, but we do need people that are reliable and projects that are reliable, right? So that's the only question there. All right. So that's pretty much it on that one. I think we're up to 1 hour and 20 minutes, which is a very long live stream. We're back to normal, I guess, back to normal. But that is where we are right now. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed on Crypto League, could you stop spamming the chats? Thanks. I already answered your question. please delete your comments. Otherwise, I will have to ban you from the channels, which would be unfortunate, right? So if you could delete all those extra comments, it'd be much appreciated there. All right. So yeah, we've got some good stuff happening on our pulse, holding that pulse line. Bitcoin looking good, over 70K, Ethereum over 2K, Pulsechain with 4 zeros, 1. So everything looking kind of nice there, and hopefully laying the foundation for the next move up this week. Hopefully we'll get some good CPI numbers, and also get some big buying from Bitminer Mission with that big wad of cash. Setting the bottom in for ETH, and that bodes well for the rest of the market. So that's kind of what we're looking forward to, and get a good green month for March and April. Question mark over May. Will that be that maybe a correction there? We'll see, and so forth. So that's kind of where we are right now. What else? What else should we say about that? I think that's kind of it at the moment. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. We did heaps of live streams yesterday. Might do another one today. You just never know. We're just feeling good about that. So why not? Why not? If you haven't subscribed, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. We're streaming on Superman Crypto, the Pulsechain X, and of course the Kryptonite Show. And of course we're on X as well. We had a big jump in growth on X yesterday, so I really do appreciate that. Yeah, if you haven't joined our strategy club, I really strongly suggest you join. We have great intel in there all day. As we're doing research, we're pushing that into the strategy club. So if you are busy or if you're new to crypto, fantastic flow of information there. Not only will you get education, but we have a lot of good picks that you can pick off, and all that good stuff. So very cool. You can see the QR code just below me there on the video live stream. You can join up just over $1 a day. Really great value. So we look forward to seeing you in Strategy Club as well. If you want to join at the general Discord, that is only $12.50 a month. So that's just general access. And of course, we have the only Discord with a crypto helpline, guys. So if you are wanting some help, you get in there. We have helped a lot of people in there. And we've got some cool moderators and stuff like that help out. So very cool. All right, on that front, I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoy it, and live long and prosperous, as we say. Until then, up only. All right, take care. Bye for now.